First, find the centre of your fabric. Now we need to consult the pattern. I'm sewing the dark pink thread first, so I'm going to count up from the cross in the centre, in this case 3, and then I'm going to count up from my centre point 3 again. That will be where I'm going to make my first stitch. So I'm going to make the hole a little bit more obvious with my needle and diagonally, so that this will mark my first stitch. Because I went through with my needle first to mark my first stitch, it's now easier to see as you bring it through from the other side. Use a loop start to secure your thread. With your first stitch complete, now we need to go back to the pattern to decide which direction you want to sew in first. I'm going to go left first and complete this row, and then I will go down. So count the number of squares very carefully, double check, and then start sewing the same amount of squares onto your fabric. It's very important to keep stopping and checking, because one small mistake will mean the whole pattern is out. Keeping your stitches identical will make them as neat as possible. If you start at the bottom right and go to the top left, keep going that way. Don't start at the top and go down. This minimises the thread you use, which also minimises the thread twisting, which all keeps the stitches neater. Keep stopping and counting. I've reached what I think is the end, but I'm just going to stop and double check. Actually, almost did an extra stitch there, so just checking that before I move on. Now back to the pattern to see what happens next. Obviously I have to go down, but there's 2 smaller rows of 3 and a 2 just underneath before I go down, so I'm just going to keep counting, keep going backwards and forwards to the pattern and the fabric. Keep going in the same way until you've completed all the dark pink.